So are you a beginning quilter and you just want to know how to put a basic 9-patch together or a patchwork quilt? Well, join me today and we're going to make that 9-patch block, and I'm going to show you some other things that you can do with it. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is cut out our fabric. And I've already cut out the 5 colored blocks that I'm going to use. And so now I just need to cut out my background fabric. And just to let you know, we're cutting these down into 4.5-inch squares. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but these are some tone on tone whites. This one has some little rosebuds. This one has a leaf pattern. And then we have just a plain white. I think for this one, I believe it would go really well with this rosebud, but I'm going to use just the basic white today. And so I'm going to show you how to cut that out. This is just a piece of yardage that I have. And just a side note to let you know that if all you have is 5-inch squares, like charm packs, you can cut those down to 4.5 inches. Or you could just use them as 5 inches. But I'm making a 12.5-inch block that when I sew it to my other blocks, the finished size will be 12 inches. So that's why I'm using 4.5 inches for my blocks. And then I'm going to find my 4.5-inch mark. Actually, I have my ruler upside down. Set this piece aside. And I'm going to go ahead and leave mine folded. This way I can get, 2 out of at once instead of cutting them in a single. I'm going to cut this end off to straighten the edge. And then 2, 3, 4.5. So that gives us 4.5-inch blocks. Okay. Okay. So the next step, since I have my background blocks cut out, and I'll take these blocks and I'll just start to line them up in 3s. Okay, I'm going to put this dark one right in the middle. And I'm going to put my stripe one, since this one's sort of striped just like this one. We'll put those in opposite corners. And this fabric has the rose on it. And I got this one with the butterflies. So it's the same fabric, these two, but they look different because this one has the butterflies and this one just the rose. I'll put my other one right here. And this will give us our basic 9-patch block. So I'll just go to the machine and I'll sew these 3 together in one row, then these and these, and then put all the rows together. And you're still using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I've sewed each of our rows, and now we can start sewing them together. I'm just going to pull the middle one over the top, and then going to match up seams making sure that you are going in the opposite direction with your two dark fabrics. I'm making sure that I turn this darker fabric in towards the middle. Okay. And so I'll sew those together, and then when we get back, um, and then I'll sew these two to our middle. Okay, so our block is finished. Now all we need to do is iron it. And the way I iron it is I'm just going with the way these seams are like laying. So they're just in one direction. And then in the middle here, they lay towards the middle block. So, and then these two rows, you can either lay them in opposite directions like this or towards the middle. I prefer the opposite. I think it lays a little bit more flat, and they tend to go in that direction. So just going to do it like that. Okay, and then I'll just turn it over and then iron it again this way. Okay, so then our finished block should measure out to about 12 and a half. Or close to it. Yeah, 12 and a half. So from here, then you can attach it to any other block that's the same size. So now that you know how to make the 9-patch block, there are many possibilities that you can use this for. You can use this actually to make a Irish chain quilt. If you make your blocks just like this, where you have darker blocks and lighter blocks, and then you're going to put a just a plain background block next to it, and then another 9-patch next to that. Then you will do the opposite on the next row, and then you will see that your 9 patches are chaining when you put them all together. You can also just make many of the 9-patch blocks and put them together, and you can do them in any colors, and then you could just get, you know, a patchwork quilt out of that. Another thing you can make out of a 9-patch is a disappearing 9-patch. I have a project going on right now, a quilt along. If you want to follow that, I'll leave the beginning video to that quilt along at the end of this video so you can see that. And it's a 9-patch, but it's a giant 9-patch, and I can show you what that looks like. Well, this is just the basic part of the 9-patch. So I may not be able to get all of this into the camera, but you can see one of the things that you can do with a 9-patch block. Okay, if you have any questions on this tutorial, please leave them in the comments below. And to let me know that you've watched this video all the way through, leave in the comments your favorite quilt block. And it's always fun to share, what our favorite blocks are. Mine is the churn dash block. I really love the churn dash block. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Bye bye for now.